Retired Air Force Brigadier General Blaine Holt, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, and Newsmax host John Bachman. Look, General, I'll go to you first on this. I have never seen more passing the hot potato. And oh, by the way, thank the troops for their service, honor, 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 but I didn't do anything wrong.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely reprehensible. It must be cover your butt season in D.C., where everybody wants to get their narrative straight. But how reprehensible to have these two come here and try to obfuscate or push them or get distance from the policies that were made. Sure, you've got a quarterback named Jake Sullivan, who's an academic who likes to play with toy soldiers. But let's look at the bigger damage here. They presided over what would be the greatest disaster in our military history, not just that, not just leaving the thousands behind, not the Americans killed who gave everything for 20 years, but they have pushed us on a pathway of American weakness that has us on the very verge of World War III tonight, with wars in no fewer than 4 continents, including our own right here at home. And so for them to stand up and then to bring and manipulate 3 Gold Star families, as you say, I wasn't responsible for it. And by the way, I have a history of collaborating with the Chinese without my bosses say so, or taking distance away from him in a political moment. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Tony?
So one person was cashiered and fired without a pension. That's Stu Schiller, Lieutenant Colonel Stu Schiller, who stood up and said exactly what we saw today on display, except he witnessed it firsthand. I testified, Carl, in his defense here in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, and he still got nailed. He got nailed because he stood up and dared call out the very people we're now talking about. And I find it interesting, compelling, if you will, that none of these general officers had the actual courage of their convictions to actually say something at the time, not after the fact. Oh, yeah, we had plans, but they didn't get used. Really? A guy named General Greg Newbold resigned back in 2002 in October because he knew the plan that Rumsfeld, and Don and I became friends, Don Rumsfeld's plan sucked. It was going to fail. It failed. And yet Newbold said, I see this. I can't do it. We had none of that. And yet we are now asked to, like you said, Carl, look at the nice presentation of information and watch Mark Milley compliment me on my service in Afghanistan. Are you kidding me? It's atrocious.
Yeah, and John, you know, I have been friends with few people who support the troops as much as you do, and you have been on the forefront of, Troopathon, raising money and helping to see the guys who come home from this, and like to see, for looking in from the outside, covering all these wars for your entire career. I mean, like, this has got to break your heart too.
It does break my heart. It breaks my heart to see guys like you and Tony and General Holt get so upset about this. I have a friend who served in Marja in Afghanistan, and I remember talking to him on that day, called him to check in on him because you knew he was not going to be okay. And he was heartbroken about the whole thing. He just did not want to watch the news that day. Now, there's a book out now called The Internationalist. It's the fight to restore American foreign policy after Trump. And this is what I think was accomplished by Milley in this hearing today and by a lot of these Democrats, is they want to rewrite history in the minds of a lot of Americans. What happened that day, you can look at the polling, the Gallup presidential. This is where Joe Biden started to lose the honeymoon period of his presidency. It was all downhill from there. Also, we heard today, which I thought was shocking, was that General McKenzie nor General Milley saw this dissent cable from the State Department in July of 2013, warning about what would happen. Right. We also saw the blame placed by Milley at the foot of the State Department as well. And this is what happens when you allow the State Department to execute a war that should be conducted by the Pentagon. There were too many political and diplomatic ideas taken into account when they should have focused solely on the safety of our troops.
But General, we see this all the time where they're like, oh, we need diplomatic options in, country X for all this. It's like, look, wait, you want to be diplomatic, send diplomats, but as long as soldiers are here, let us kill bad guys and break their stuff.
They don't do any diplomacy whatsoever. They do politics is what they do. Look at what's happening right now in Israel. We're cashiering an ally because the Minnesota and Michigan polls demand it. And what's even worse is generals are to be generals, and they're to command and to build strategy and military options. And when those options are incompatible with our national security, then you have one option. You can vote with your feet. And none of them showed any of that courage. In fact, they promoted those generals that were there in Afghanistan, and they're the new ones in charge.
But unfortunately, Tony, there's, you have old men making these stupid decisions, young men dying and coming home in boxes with flags draped over them, and nobody learns anything.